Okay, I want to make some charred punk wood, and generally you got to find some wood that's on the ground. Some wood that's on the ground for it to be punky. This wood's all too hard. I seen a log down up the road here a bit. I'm gonna walk up there and see how that looks. I'll turn the camera back on when I get up there. Okay, here's a tree right here. If you look up there, those green leaves are not coming from this front tree here, one with the holes that are up there. That is probably punky wood up there, but I don't have any way to get to it. The tree I'm talking about is this one over here. You can see the two dead trees there standing, but you see this piece here on the ground that's broken off of this other dead tree here, which looks like it's got probably poison ivy on it, but I'm not allergic. So, oh no, it didn't fall off of that one. It actually probably fell off of these. Maybe even somebody cut them down. I don't know. Let's see if these are punky. No, that one's still pretty solid. A little soft there. Some of it. If I had brought an axe or something, I could probably split it open and find some. Let's try this one here. Let's flip it over to the underside. Oh yeah. See how that's all soft and rotten? There's a nice soft piece. Oh yeah, that's nice and soft. It's still wet, which doesn't matter because I'm gonna char it anyway. Yeah, very soft, very punky. So I'm gonna set this out here, get my Altoids tin out. Yeah, a little roly-poly on there. Get off, little guy, we don't want to cook you. I got way too much here, but that's fine. I can take some back with me for next time if I want. Fill my Altoids tin up. A lot of people say you have to poke a hole in your tin, and that's a bunch of crap. If it's an Altoids tin, the lid does not fit on anyway. You've got holes there underneath the hinges. You do not have to poke a hole in your Altoids tin. So don't let anybody out there tell you that you have to. The only time you have to poke a hole in your tin is if you have an airtight tin, like a paint can or something like that, to keep it from exploding, to let the air out. That's it. An Altoids tin is perfectly fine the way it is. You do not need to poke a hole in it. I'm going to take this other punk wood with me for the next batch, whatever, and we'll go back up to the house and build a fire and make us some charred punk wood. It's pretty windy today, so I'm not sure how well the audio is going to be on this. I need to start a fire, and this tree has lots of small twigs, so I'm going to start with that first. Okay, that should do well. They're all from pencil lead to pencil diameter size. I mean, that one's a little bigger, but fairly small. So I'm gonna go set these away, and then I'll move the camera and we'll get some bigger stuff. Okay, now what I want is stuff that's bigger. pencil size to the size of a cigar. Doesn't hurt to get some other smaller stuff in there too. I'll just kind of break them up somewhat for now. They're laying all over the ground. Around here. Off the ground. They're drier. More medium-sized wood. Should get me through that. I've got some bigger wood over there that I cut up the other day from that basswood tree. So that should get me enough to make this charred punkwood. Let's get over there and get the fire lit. Okay, the whole point of this is for making the next fire, which is why I need the charred punkwood. But I am not going to light a fire in the lawn, so I'm going to do it right here on the edge of the lawn. There's some dead grass here from where it's got mowed that might burn a little bit, but that's not a big deal. And I'm going to use a lighter. So, we're going to put that napkin right there. And we're going to put these spruce twigs on there. Spruce twigs are burning better than the napkin. There we go. Nope. Okay. Spruce twigs. Get them going. Put some more wood on there. Press her down. Just kind of mix them around different directions. That napkin doesn't want to burn very good. Paper towel, whatever. Doesn't help that all this grass out here is very, very moist. It's been raining for pretty much a week now, at least a little bit every day, and there's more rain coming today. There we go. Light it on the side that's upwind, which means the smoke's blowing right in my face. Alright, let that get going a minute, and I'll start feeding on the bigger pieces over here, and then I've got some bigger pieces of the basswood over here on the side. So we'll let that fire get going, and we'll bring you back when I put the char tin in. Alright, I've got a nice sustainable fire now. I'm going to let that burn down a little bit, and then once that burns down a little bit, where I can get close to without having to worry about setting my face on fire, I will throw the Altoids tin in and char up that punkwood. Alright, word died down a little bit. Enough we can throw this on. And just set that right in there. Where it is definitely nice and hot. And it'll burn the paint off for sure. But you'll see probably within a few minutes. At first it'll probably start steaming because that punkwood is pretty wet. But it'll either smoke, and chances are it probably won't smoke. It'll just grow flames out the out the holes, the openings, where the hinges are and around the edges. Yeah, the paint's already starting to burn. It's already starting to get hot. So we'll leave that in there for 10 or 15 minutes till I know it's good and hot, good and soaked through, or the heat cooked through, I should say. And once I know it's good and cooked, you have to take it off and do not open it until it is cooled down. If you open it while it's hot, you put gloves on or something like that and open it while it's hot, the char will actually ignite from the heat. So, yeah. We'll let it set in there and burn a little bit and we'll bring you back. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes or so. I did some cleanup around the yard, cut down some big thistles that were over here getting ready to flower out, which would have meant more thistles. So in doing that, I have my little kukri machete, cheap Chinese crap handy, but I'm going to use that to get in here and bring this Altoids box out. You can tell it's pretty well burnt. I'm sure the charred punkwood or punkwood is charred. So now we got to let it cool for a few minutes, and then I will bring you back and we'll open it up. Okay, it's been 5 minutes or so. This should be cooled down. Let's open it up. And oh yeah, that's perfect. So we'll take it back up toward the house, out in the driveway probably, and see if we can't get a ember from flint and steel, my old file and a rock. Okay, the whole idea of this is about your next fire. Use the fire that you currently have to make sure you're set up to make your next fire. And I have my charred punkwood, which turned out really nice. And then I have these rocks, which are probably not flint, but chert, as long as it has a hardness of, I believe it's 7. And these will make a spark. And with char cloth, you're going to put your char cloth on top of your rock and strike down to, well, if you have a decent sharp edge, which if you don't, you can actually smack the edge and break something off and get a nice sharp edge. Which that piece there is probably even usable for what I'm about to do, because what you want is you want a nice, really nice sharp edge, because instead of striking down with the file on the rock, we're going to strike down here. Let me move around here. We're going to strike down on the file with the rock and try to throw sparks down. And all this is an old piece of a file that I broke off, and then I took the belt sander and I polished the edges to get those file grooves off of them. And this small little piece of file would last me easily a lifetime, and definitely the rest of my life since I'm 50 years old. But it would last me easily a lifetime if I was a teenager. Just a short piece of file like that, and grind the edges down smooth. They're not smooth anymore because of doing things like this. So what you want to do is strike down, and that quick. Throw a spark in there, and that quick. I don't know if you can see that. That quick, I've got an ember in there. And you could pull that out, put that in your bird's nest, and blow it into flame. Charred punkwood is a very, very good resource. Use that, have a nice bird's nest, take that charred punkwood out, and if you have to add more charred punkwood to your bird's nest to blow it into flame because of bad conditions, that's fine. make sure you have more punk wood to put back in your tin and put back in your next fire. Once you get the fire going, you put more punk wood in your tin, throw it back in the fire, and recook it. The punk wood that's already in there, it's not going to hurt it to be cooked again. And there you go. You've always got your next fire. As long as you've got your little tin, your file, and a rock with a hardness of 7.0 or greater.